There once was a rebel who gave up everything he knew before to chase his dreams of living and working from anywhere. This is the Rebel Podcast, brought to you by Paul Saxby, creator of the Rebel Nomad blog, rebelnomad.co.uk.
Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Rebel Nomad podcast. So today's episode is all about how to actually become a digital nomad and to work from any location. So today we're going to look at the pursuit of happiness or success. We're going to be looking at creating a job for yourself, sacrifices, how to actually travel and how to actually live anywhere, and also a bit of making friends as well, and just getting some advice and finding people to help us on our journey as well. So let's start off with the pursuit of happiness. So one of the first things that always happens currently in my life is saying to people, so I'm planning on traveling. It's always the first thing of like, yeah, I'd love to travel. And it's always this like kind of fictional thing that by traveling, you'll suddenly find happiness, to kind of take you away from the 9-to-5 stresses of whatever you have to deal with, family problems or anything like that. And the truth of it is, I don't actually think traveling is really going to get rid of any of your problems. It's not an escapism. But really, that's only short term. Long term, you want to be happy wherever you are, that kind of thing. So actually, my journey kind of started of trying to find the pursuit of happiness. I mean, I'm pretty fortunate. I'm married. I have a job I enjoy, and I don't have loads of money, but I have enough to live the life in which I want to live, which doesn't really take a lot of money, to be honest. The kind of thing I just wanted to figure out, if I got to any location in the world, was I going to be a part of that illusion that, oh my God, if I got to New York and I was working from New York, then suddenly I'll be happy or happier or this kind of stuff. I mean, actually, I'm quite a happy person anyway, because I like to think I make the best out of any situation, as bad as it could be, or, I just think you should be happy wherever you are. So I think that's kind of like the first thing for me personally anyway, that I just wanted to do. So it kind of brings me to this next thing, which was to actually travel or to live the digital nomad life, had to make loads of sacrifices, because it was my thought that if I was living from anywhere, if I was living in New York, living in Rome or wherever, I needed to have like the least outgoings possible, for Laura and I to survive, to be able to pay the rent of wherever we are, to get the travel from the airport, or to all this different stuff. So the sacrifices included TV. Wow, that was quite a weird one. I mean, I don't really watch a lot of TV anyway, but you definitely notice it when you don't have a TV anymore, or not having your cable subscription or your anything like that. So that was kind of the first thing, but we easily replaced that anyway with our huge DVD collection, which we found we never ever watched any of, and TV shows from DVDs or Blu-rays and that kind of stuff. So that actually wasn't too bad. That wasn't as bad as a sacrifice as I thought it was going to be. I got rid of my car, which was quite a shocker. To kind of, it's quite a weird one. It's kind of like just losing your independence overnight by not being able to get anywhere as easier, I guess, But actually, it was quite surprising how great it was. As crazy as that sounds, I know, but it was like, for example, I used to drive to the local supermarket, which is like 10 minutes walk, or just little things of walking to different places, which you could easily walk to, but you just take for granted that you've got a car, so you just drive there. So it was like being made aware of that was amazing, and within the process of walking to different places, it's like suddenly wow, life actually exists. There's birds in the trees, and it sounds pretty hippie, or all that kind of stuff. But it's actually amazing, how much you do take for granted, I guess, of just seeing people rushing about, everything like that. And obviously to walk places, you have to make more time, because it's not as easy just to race down to the shops or whatever. So you have to kind of really plan it and time it well. So actually that was really nice. It opened up my eyes to how much I was maybe rushing about, or how much, and how stressful it is in a car, and I don't know, people always on edge and road raging and all this kind of stuff. So that was quite nice. And I think like the only other one was like my phone, the downgrading of the phone. That was quite amazing to kind of not get the latest iPhone and to get like a really old I got like this like Samsung waterproof heavy duty, drop it in mud, drop it in water, and it'll still work. It's really amazing with technology now. I mean, obviously from being a web designer, I'm always like technology mad. I'm always like trying to be in the forefront, always like one step ahead of everyone else, hopefully, and just trying to see what's coming out next with gadgets and things like that. And it's amazing kind of looking at this this kind of basic phone, which is obviously fit for purpose. But it's amazing how with my iPhone, it doesn't last. The battery doesn't last that long. I probably charge it 3 times a day, because I'm always using apps or doing social media and all this different kind of stuff. And with this alternate phone, it's like the battery just never dies. Honestly, I've left this phone on the side, and it's lasted for about like 4 days. I'm like, well, it's still going, and it just meets all of your requirements. So I was kind of like, that's going to be so good for traveling, to be able to have a phone that's just fit for purpose. I'm not going to be spending all my time, looking down at it. Has been any messages? Has anyone Instagram me, Facebook me? We're so consumed by all that kind of stuff. It's kind of nice just to. So that was another. So it's quite weird. All the sacrifices which I was kind of dreading to make, obviously in order just to have enough money to, live from anywhere. Most of those things actually made me happier. So maybe that kind of coincides with the first one as well. So that's quite good. Hopefully that'll help you out a little bit. Now the next one is how to travel. That's quite an interesting one. As I mentioned previous, I was reading a book which I highly recommend, which is called The 4-Hour Week by Timothy Ferriss. But yeah, it's a really good book. Like I said before, I'm not 100% like sold on everyone suddenly going to be working 4 hours a week and all this kind of stuff. But the actual automation and how to actually kind of set up a job and do everything like that is really invaluable, I think. Just it's full of ideas and inspirations, but yeah, take all of it with a pinch of salt. I think obviously everyone's different and everyone works differently, so I don't think it will 100% apply to everyone, but I think it will definitely help everyone out, kind of thing. So like I said before, the kind of main aim is not to actually go on a holiday. We want to be able to live from anywhere, and that's the most important thing. So as far as accommodations concerned, we're going to be using Airbnb, which is, like I say, revolutionary. It's changed. I think it's changed a lot of people's worlds, including mine. And it's just that people rent out their own houses or apartments all around the world that they're currently not using, and you can essentially pay per night to stay in people's apartments, which obviously works out loads cheaper. I mean, you could stay in New York in a hotel for, let's say, £200 a night, £300 a night, whereas on Airbnb you could find an apartment for like £28 a night. So it's obviously huge changes, because I think if Laura and I had to stay in hotels for a month in New York, I don't think well, we wouldn't physically be able to, because obviously it's just so much money. So it'd just be nearly impossible to kind of get other places involved after that, so the traveling would kind of stop. So yeah, Airbnb's been really good, so definitely check out that. There's some, you know, it's I mean 100% of the, not 100%, but 90% of the time, it's been really easy as well. Just you get replies from people near enough, like within 24 hours, and everyone's just so friendly. I think because it's like a community of everyone kind of wanting the same things, and a lot of the people are doing the same thing, you know, are traveling or, you know, staying in other people's houses and things like that. So it's such a great community, and I think you'd be surprised on how helpful people are on there. You know, you can ask questions, and that's been great, you know, as a part of the digital nomad journey. And then the next thing as well is air flights. I mean, I was really fortunate to create a travel agent's website recently. So it's been really cool just asking him loads of questions all the time. He's like asking me loads of questions about the internet, and I'm asking him loads of questions about traveling, you know, about, okay, what's the deal with air flights? You know, how can I get the cheapest air flights and things like that? And yeah, I can give you a few little tips and insights on that. Apparently with air travel, there's different seasons of traveling kind of thing. So if you book it like, I don't know, 8 months in advance, you'll see cheaper flights kind of thing. If you book it like really close to the time of flying, then it tends to not be as cheap, because as far as business travel and everything like that is concerned, people will book short term, so the airlines rocket the prices up for like short term. You know, like if you're going to go flying next week, you know, it'd be quite expensive. But then from the opposite effect, as closer you get to that time, so like 2 days until travel, or 1 day, or on the day, as crazy as you might be, then actually it goes quite cheap again, because obviously they want to get rid of the seats, and they kind of just want to fill up the plane. So that's quite interesting. You know, the optimum kind of time I've found personally has been 6 months before. I tend to find that that's kind of the cheaper kind of time to fly. But there's some great stuff out there. I mean, Google actually do a flight checker thing, which is great. I've been using that quite a lot. Skyscanner.net is one of my favorites as well. And the great thing about this is you can work it in with your travels. So as long as you're not booking everything up, you know, completely really scheduled, you can kind of change dates as well. So you can go, okay, so if I fly on a Wednesday, it's going to be cheaper than if I fly on a Saturday. I mean, that's quite a good general rule of thumb as well. Like during the week, it's a lot cheaper to fly than it is to fly on a weekend or a Friday, which is really great. Obviously, the different seasons change as well. So if you're flying to New York in January, like kind of later January, not like January the 1st, but it will be cheaper than if you fly Christmas Day or, you know, Christmas Eve and things like that, because obviously the prices will rocket up. And obviously summer is a big one. You know, August is a bit of a nightmare. And it's the same thing with Airbnb as well. You know, if you fly out to a place and try to stay there in August, it's obviously going to be more expensive, because to coincide with school holidays and all that kind of stuff. So just be aware of that. You know, obviously, hopefully you're not at school anymore, but yeah, you know, it will still get busier at those different times. Okay, and the other thing as well is living whilst abroad. That's quite a crazy thing. You know, like I said, it's all about living anywhere, not having a holiday. So the other kind of aspect of living is to not really wanting to be spending loads and loads of money. So I think it's quite a good thing to try this in your pursuit of happiness, and with your sacrifices. It's quite good. With, like, me and Laura have just been going on some mad walks at the moment, just like for hours, you know, to different places and like local landmarks. You know, I've lived here for like 27 years, so for my whole life kind of thing, and I've still haven't seen any of it. You know, you take so much for granted. I mean, we're so close to London. because we're kind of in the suburbs of Surrey kind of thing, and it's amazing how much you haven't even seen in your own city, but we've seen so much in other cities. So we've been really making really making an effort to check out local landmarks and things like that. So that's a really good thing, because obviously when you're on holiday, when you're working from, it was a Freudian slip, I think. So when you're actually working from anywhere and living anywhere, I think it's the most important thing to make the effort to do as many free things as you can, because obviously you're paying your rent and you're living, so going to museums, going to kind of anything free, going to parks. There's just an amazing amount of free stuff you can do in any city and things like that. I know this is a little controversial, it seems, in the digital nomad world, but I love the idea of having a float, as hard as that seems to grasp. I'm always I never want to be anywhere and kind of not have enough money to do something, or get stuck. So me and Laura have always stuck to our thing of having a float of money that, if we were anywhere and we've got, I don't know, a life-changing opportunity, like swimming with dolphins, or, one of our goals, I want to have like just enough money that we don't even know exists. It's in a bank account we can't touch. There's only like one card for it that we don't use. And, if the opportunity comes up, I'm up for just like going for it, or just being able to do it. Whilst we were in New York a few years back, we did the same thing, and it was like, oh my god, there's tickets for New York Knicks tonight. We've never been to a basketball game, so we're like, yeah, that's definitely one of the ones that we can use this account for. So we did that, and then after that, obviously you have to pay it back again, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, you obviously don't need heap loads of money to travel and things like that, but I really feel strongly about kind of just having this float, having like a kind of backup money, whether it's like, I don't know, we went to Berlin a few years back, and it was like such heavy snow that we got stuck there, and it was before Christmas. We had loads of plans at Christmas, like here at home. So we had to like spend an extortionate amount on a new flight, because the airline we were currently flying with weren't flying back home, kind of thing. So that was obviously from the opposite. It wasn't a really exciting way of spending our float money, but it was kind of necessary to get back in time, see family and all that kind of stuff. I really believe in that. It sounded good. So how about this, creating a job for yourself? This is like, I mean, for me, I don't know, that the process was such a hard process to go through. This was kind of make or break for me, I think, of how am I actually going to work from anywhere. It's such a hard thing to grasp and things like that. So the 4-hour week was actually really, really great in that aspect. It teaches you how to start up a job from complete scratch, kind of make your own job to allow you to travel. But it also gives great tips if you're already currently working somewhere, and hopefully you've got an employer who's quite nice, and will allow you to work from anywhere, kind of thing. But it's amazing in today's world, as long as we've got a Wi-Fi connection, we pretty much can actually do anything. I mean, okay, if your job's in retail, it might be trickier, like as a face-to-face kind of, face-to-face with customers all the time, but take it all online. Like there's always an opportunity to make stuff happen, no matter what your situation is. So it was quite easy for me, because obviously I'm a guitar teacher and I'm a web designer, so I did all the guitar lessons, moved them all onto Skype, so that was pretty easy. And like I said, 100% everyone went along with it, which is quite a good little ego boost for me, because hopefully it means that people like what I do. And I mean, they could have easily just got someone else, but instead they obviously believe in my teaching ability, and obviously web design is really easy, because I never meet clients that much anyway. It's all done via email, via phone, and all this kind of stuff. So it's quite amazing how much of my freelancer heaven can be you know, I can work from anywhere kind of thing. With Laura, it's a little bit trickier because she isn't freelance. She was working whilst being employed, you know, by a boss and all that kind of stuff. So with her, it's a little bit trickier. So she had to go to her boss and say, yep, I'm wanting to work more from home. I can prove that it will work, you know, by, to be honest, Laura's really annoying. She's really productive when she works from anywhere. So actually at home, like, I think if I was in her position, I probably would have not worked as hard and things like that. But as far as Laura's concerned, she's just so focused on getting work done so that she can have free time after that. So it worked really well for her, and her boss saw that it was, you know, really positive. And most of the stuff that you can do, obviously in an office, you can do from anywhere anyway. You know, you can Skype for meetings, you can obviously ring up via Skype as well, so it's free. Obviously, as long as you've got the internet, you can pretty much do anything. And even some of the things that you can't do, there's always ways around it, you know. For example, we're like planning, when we're in New York, it'd be different time zones, but it's amazing how much an autoresponder can actually do. I was looking at other digital nomads and kind of analysing what they do, and one of the guys actually creates software. So he creates plugins for WordPress, and I mean, amazing plugins. But this guy set up a help desk support system, which is easy. It's just like a template, which basically uses forums, which uses a ticketing system. So he says, from this time to this time, I am able to answer your questions. If it's out of that time, as soon as possible, I will reply to you within the next day or whatever. And this is incredible, you know, just to see this in action, because you'd email the plugin site, you get a reply, and it's basically a really well-written autoresponder with like, here are some of the most useful questions, you know, frequently asked questions. Most of them would actually answer what you're trying to ask anyway. So it's just so incredible to see it work in action. So by the time it's not even him, he's outsourced the help desk anyway. So by the time someone replies to you, you've probably already answered your own question anyway, just from the forums or the help desk system kind of thing. So it's really amazing how much automation can do. Having a great voicemail, you know, hello, currently I'm not available. In order to save time, I now listen to my voicemail messages at 12 a.m, you know, or whatever, and it's such a great thing. So all of this is taken from the 4-Hour Week, so highly recommend going out, buying that book, and you know, taking lots of good stuff from it. And the final thing of whilst you're being a crazy digital nomad and working from anywhere is, I think, quite an important thing, maybe not an essential thing, but just making friends, you know. Laura's really lucky. She runs a huge blog anyway, which is a Marilyn Monroe blog, but she does really well out of that. She's got loads and loads of fans and loads of people that follow that for her pictures and things like that. But such a great community as well of Marilyn fans and things like that. So actually she's got quite a lot of friends all around the world that we've never met through blogging and things like that. So it's going to be so nice to kind of meet up with them and kind of make friends. But it's amazing, the digital nomad community and things like that. So online, you know, just from tweeting other digital nomads asking questions, as silly as they may be or as complex as they may be, everyone's always willing to help each other out. It's just such a great community. So yeah, definitely make use of that, you know, ask questions and talk to people. And it's just nice to find people on the same kind of wavelength who kind of have the same ambitions and goals that hopefully you do as well. So definitely check out all that. And thank you very much. I have been the Rebel Nomad, Paul, and I will see you next week.
You have been listening to the Rebel Podcast. For more information, please click on rebelnomad.co.uk. You can also subscribe to this podcast by clicking subscribe or going to rebelpodcast.co.uk.